we created, in the first 100 days, 1,300,000 new jobs. 1,300,000 jobs in 100 days. That's more new jobs in the first 100 days of any president in history. Folks, because of you. And we're here, just a few more things that we needed. We provided food and nutrition assistance for children and families so they don't go hungry. Rental assistance to keep people from being evicted from their homes. Loans to small businesses like Long to keep them open and people employed. And we made Georgia eligible to expand Medicaid, which means another 500,000 Georgians can be covered. Excuse me. Folks, health care should be a right, not a privilege in America. And here's the thing I'm most proud of. We are on track to cut child poverty in half this year by having passed the child tax credit. In half. But as much as we've done, we've got a lot more to do. That's why I proposed the American Jobs Plan. It's a once-in-a-generation investment in America. It's the biggest jobs plan in this country since World War II. And here's what it does. It creates jobs rebuilding and modernizing our roads, our highways, our bridges, our ports, our airports. It will provide clean drinking water for every American. There are 10 million homes in America. And there are 400,000 schools and daycare centers that have lead pipes where drinking the water is a danger. We're going to replace 100% of those nation's lead pipes and service lines so every child can have a turn at the faucet and know what they're drinking is clean water. Folks, we're going to provide reliable high-speed internet everywhere in America, including rural America. 15% of Georgia households do not have internet at all. We're going to change that. And those infrastructure projects are going to create millions of good-paying jobs just installing them. We also know that 2 million women have dropped out of the workforce during this pandemic. 2 million because too often they have to choose between whether or not they can get care for their child and their family or go to work. In the 21st century, infrastructure isn't just steel and concrete, it's people. And it's time we start paying people who come to our homes and care for people that love them and going to take care of them. And folks, you know, when a lot of people talk about climate, they forget to mention the most important word. I made a promise when I was down here running that I would, in fact, immediately rejoin the Paris Climate Accord on day one, which we did, and I would have, in the first 100 days, a climate summit here in America, inviting all the world's polluters and all the world's emitters, including the biggest nations in the world. And they came, everyone from Russia to China, to the European Union, to India, all of them. And you know what? What came across? Every single one of those countries, whether they're going to meet their obligations or not, is finally understanding that taking care of saving the planet is going to create millions of good-paying jobs. Millions of good-paying jobs. We're going to put engineers and construction workers, electricians, electrical workers, building efficient buildings and homes. We're going to install 500,000 charging stations along the highways we're going to rebuild. And there's no reason why the blades for windmill turbines can't be built in Pittsburgh instead of Beijing. There's no reason. There's no reason that American workers can't lead the world in the production of electric vehicles and the batteries that propel them. We can do what we need to do in saving the planet and yet create millions of good-paying jobs. Folks, and with all the investments in the American Jobs Plan, here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy American. Let me explain what that means. You know, it's not a violation of any trade agreement. Every tax dollar that we, in fact, get for construction of anything is going to go to be used to buy American products, made in America, that create American jobs. That's the way it should be. Because, look, folks, Wall Street didn't build this country. You did. The middle class did. And unions built the middle class. And here's one final thing I want to mention about the American Jobs Plan. We got $5 billion investment in that plan for community violence intervention. There's a lot of work we have to do. A lot of work we have to do. And I want you to know who's responsible for that. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. But folks, we not only have to invest in America, we need to invest in our families. We need to invest in things our families care about and need the most. That's why the American Family Plan does 4 things, and we pay for it all. 1, without raising the deficit. It adds 4 years more guaranteed public education in America. If we were building on our education system from start today like we did in the last century, did anybody think we'd say 12 years of education is enough to compete and win the competition of the 21st century? I don't think so. So when we did that last century, it made America the best educated, best prepared nation in the world. But the rest of the world has caught up to us now. So my plan provides a universal preschool for every 3- and 4-year-old in America. Everyone. That's a game changer. It's a game changer. And it also provides 2 years of free community college. That's a game changer as well. Jill is a community college professor, still teaching. She constantly says, Joe, community colleges can change the lives of students. As she always say, look, any country that out-educates us is going to out-compete us. She'll be leading one of these efforts as well. Look, one more thing. We've got some great historical black universities and colleges in Georgia. And we're going to be investing them and investing in them and increasing Pell Grants. They don't have all the money that comes from the large universities. But their students are as competent to do anything in the future as anyone else. But here's the deal. We're going to provide up to $47 billion over 10 years to increase their capacity to do everything but deal with, cybersecurity, all those things where the jobs of the future are. Second thing we're going to do, provide quality, affordable child care. I was a single dad for 5 years. When my wife and daughter got killed right after I got elected to the United States Senate as a 29-year-old kid, what happened was I was lucky. I had a daughter. I had 2 boys survive. My daughter and wife were killed, but my 2 boys survived. And fortunately for me, I had an incredible family. My sister, my brother, and my mother and father, they basically moved in and helped me raise my kids. Because although I was a senator, I was listed as the poorest senator in history, but not history, but in the years I was there, I couldn't afford the cost of daycare. I couldn't afford the cost of child care. But I had them. I don't know how I would have done it without them. So understand how important child care can be. Under my plan, most folks won't pay more than 7% of their income for child care as a max. And the folks who need it the most and can't afford it all won't have to spend a dime. That's important. And the third thing is the American Family Plan will finally provide up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. No one should have to choose between a job and a paycheck or taking care of themselves, a loved one, a parent, or a spouse or a child. And fourth, American Family Plan puts money directly into the pockets of millions of families. The American Rescue Plan, we passed a child credit. We're going to expand that child credit to families for another 5 years. Families with 2 kids, that will mean that as much as $7,200 will go into their pockets every year. Georgia, this is a tax cut for more than 2 million families in Georgia. We're cutting taxes for people by a tax credit. And we're going to lift more than 170,000 children out of poverty right here in America and cut child poverty this year in half. Folks, so how are we going to pay for all this? Well, with tax cuts for the middle class and working class families, how are we going to pay for that? Well, it's real simple. It's about time the very wealthy and corporations start paying their fair share. It's about time. As simple as that. And folks, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I promise you, no one making under $400,000 a year is going to pay a single additional penny in tax. No one. As I said last night, the middle class and working people of this country are already paying enough in taxes. It's time for the richest 1% of Americans and corporate America to start to do their part. Let me just give you a simple fact. Last year, for example, 55 of our largest corporations in America paid $0 in federal tax. Zero. And they made $40 billion. Not a penny in tax. Folks, if in fact we had a minimum book tax for corporations, for the Fortune, just the Fortune 500 companies, just a minimum tax of 15%, bet all you'd sign up for 15% tax right now. If in fact it was just 15%, we'd raise $230 billion. Pay for all this. So folks, I'm not trying to punish anyone. What we've got to make corporations making $40 billion paying zero is just not right. Something's seriously wrong here. Georgia, I think a lot of you know I ran for president saying we had to heal the soul of this nation. And that's what we have to do.